Good day. We, the group 2, will be talking about pie chart or circle chart. So what exactly is a pie chart and how is it useful to us? A pie chart, sometimes called a circle chart, is a way of summarizing a set of normal data or displaying the different values of a given variable. This type of chart is a circle divided into a series of segments. Each segment represents a particular category. A pie chart helps us organize and show data as a percentage of a whole. This kind of visualization uses a circle to represent the whole and slices of the circle or prior to represent the specific categories that compose the whole. Now, let's move on to history. The history of pie chart. In 1801, William Playfair invented the first pie chart. His book Commercial and Political Atlas and Statistical Breviary contains the earliest pie charts. The development of graphical approaches in statistics is credited to Scottish engineer Playfair.
Hi, good day everyone. I am Christian Nace T. Sotero. So for today, join me and know what is a pie chart. A pie chart is a circular statistical graph used to illustrate numerical proportions in a data set. It is particularly useful for displaying data that can be divided into categories or parts, where each category's proportion is shown as a fraction of the whole circle. The entire circle represents 100% of the data. There are 6 key features of a pie chart. Number 1, circular shape. Number 2, slices. Number 3, colors. Number 4, labels. Number 5, center. And number 6, legend. So number 1, circular shape. Pie charts are round in shape and resemble a pie or a sliced circle. Number 2, slices. The circle is divided into slices to represent different categories or parts of the whole. Each slice represents a proportionate percentage of the total data. Number 3, colors. Each slice is typically represented by a different color to make it visually distinctive and easier to understand. Number 4, labels. Each slice is labeled with the corresponding category or part it represents, along with the exact percentage or proportion it holds. Number 5, center. The center of the circle often has a label or title indicating what the chart represents. And lastly, the legend. In cases where there are multiple slices, a legend might be included to provide a key for the colors used in the chart.
Definition of terms. These terms are commonly used when creating, interpreting, or discussing pie charts to effectively communicate information about the data distribution. So first is a pie chart. So a pie chart is a type of graph that uses a circular graph to represent data. The slices of a pie represent the proportional distribution of the data. A pie chart involves a list of categorical and numerical variables, and the whole circle represents 100% of the data. And next is slice. So a slice is a pie chart part that represents a portion or percentage of the total data as a whole. Each slice's size is proportional to the amount of data it represents. Sector. A sector is another term for a slice of a pie chart. The next is category. So a category is the specific data or group that a pie chart slice represents. Categories are frequently labeled and can represent different divisions of a whole. The next is data point. So data point is a value or quantity associated with a specific category or slice in the pie graph. The next is a legend. So a legend is a key or list that is usually placed beside or below the pie chart that explains the colors. The next is percentage. So it is the portion or proportion of the whole that each slice represents, expressed as a percentage of the total. The next is center. So the central point of the pie chart is often used as a reference point when discussing the distribution of the data. The next one is the data label. So each slice of the pie chart has a text label that indicates the exact value or percentage represented by that slice. The next is angle. An angle is the center of the circle formed by each slice. The size of this angle is proportional to the data it represents. And lastly is radius. So a radius is a distance from the pie chart center to any point on the entire circle. It is used to calculate the size of each slice based on the quantity of data it represents.
Steps to construct pie chart. Step 1. Categorize the given data and calculate the total. Ang pagpangita sa total you just simply add the given data. Step 2. Find the values in the form of a percentage. To calculate the percentage of the given data, we use the formula frequency divided by total frequency times 100. Ang frequency, mao na siya ang given data, and ang total frequency, mao na siya ang total given data. So, pangitaon nimo ang value as percentage aron makita nimo pila ka percent ang part sa isa category sa whole circle graph. Step 3. Find how many degrees for each pie sector we need. To convert the data into degrees, we use the formula given data divided by total value of data times 360. Ang pagpangita sa degrees is same ra sa pagpangita sa percentage, but ang imong i-multiply kay 360 instead of 100. Ang degrees kay helpful in making sa pie chart kay ang degrees represents the measurement sa angle for each pie sector. Step 4. Once all the degrees for creating a pie chart are calculated, draw a circle or pie chart using the calculated measurements with the help of a protractor. In making a pie chart manually, protractor is essential good para accurate imong angle measurements inigbahin-bahin sa pagdraw or pagmake sa pie chart. If magamit kag MS Word or Excel, you just simply put the given data or values para makita dayon ang percentage, then automatically mabahin na dayon each pie sector.
So now that we know how to create a pie chart or a circle graph, let's now use it in an example. So the first example is creating a pie chart of the household budget expenses. So the first step is to gather the data. So in this step, we have to gather or list down all the expenses that we have in a month. In this example, we have the rent or mortgage worth 1,500, groceries 500, utilities such as electricity, water, and gas worth 300, transportation is 200, dining out or entertainment is worth 250, healthcare is 150, and miscellaneous or other things is worth 100. Now that we have gathered or listed down all the expenses, let us add them all together, which will amount to 2,900. Then creating a pie chart, you must find the percentage of each of the expenses, and to do that, we would have to divide the amount of the expenses to the total expenses and then multiply it by 100. As you can see here, for the rent or mortgage, we divided 1,500 by 2,900, which is the total expenses, and then multiply it by 100, giving us 51.72%. We will also apply this formula to the other expenses, which will now give us groceries 17.24%, utilities with 10.34%, and transportation with 6.9%, dining out or entertainment with 8.62%, healthcare is 5.17%, and miscellaneous is 3.45%. Now that we have the percentages of each expenses, we can now refer this to make the pie chart. So we can easily find or create the pie chart from the percentages of the data through using softwares or websites or apps such as Microsoft Word. Now, what if we do not have any access to a MS Word or any kind of softwares or sites that could help us create pie chart automatically? Then we could always do it manually. Now we can use the formula, which is the given data divided by total value of data multiplied by 360. That formula can be used to find the angle of the slide when making a pie chart. For the given data, we've already found them, and those are the percentages of each expenses in the month. We can get the total value of data by adding all of those percentages. So I have put down all of those percentages, and now we can add them up. So the total value of data is 98.27. Now that we're done with that, we can now start in trying to find the angles of each of the expenses. So for example, we can find the angle of the utilities. So the given data of the utilities is 10.34 divided by the total value of data, which is 98.27. We have 0.105. We can round it off to 0.11. The next step is multiplying it by 360. Now we know that utilities has an angle of 39.6 degrees. We will now apply this process to all of those expenses. Now that we're done, we can now start on creating the pie chart. We can use the protractor as a guide to create the angles of each data or each expenses. Here, let's use the angle for the rent or the mortgage. So the angle for the rent or mortgage is 189.5 degrees, which is more than 180 degrees of the protractor. We can simply subtract 180 degrees from the 189.5, which will give us a 9.5. So now we can create a half circle and then add the 9.5 degrees to either sides of the line. Now that we're done, we can apply this process to other expenses as well, which will give us this pie chart. After this, we will now add colors, titles, and labels so that we can easily understand the data that is being presented in this graph. And as you can see in this slide, we have created a pie chart using the different percentages of the expenses. Now, although we have this pie chart, it does not mean that it is done. So let us proceed to the next step. So in this step, we will now be adding the titles and labels for the pie chart. So in this example, we have put down in each slide of the pie chart the corresponding percentages for each of the expenses in a month. The next and the last step is adding colors in each slide of the pie chart. Although it is optional, it is more favorable to add legends in a pie chart so that we can better understand the data that is being presented in the graph.
For the problem solving number 2, 250 people were asked what their favorite type of show is to watch on TV. How many people responded that they prefer to watch sports or documentaries? So for the solution part, we are going to multiply the number of people, which is 250, by their respective percentage.
So for the sports, 250 times 35% is equal to 87.5. And we round it off because they ask about the number of people and there's no such as half person. Therefore, we round it off to 88 people. And also for the documentaries, 250 times 27% is 67.5, round it off, 68 people. Now for the answer, the sports 88 people, add it to the documentaries which is 68 people, and we have 156 people. Therefore, there are 156 people that prefer to watch sports and documentaries.
First, we must identify all our expenses. Next, we add them all up. With this, we'll be able to get our total expense, which will represent as 100%. After doing so, we need to take the amount of each component, divide it by our total sum of expenses, and then multiply the result to 100 to get its percentage. This will allow us to see the respective percentages in accordance with our total expense. Then finally, we can assign them to a corresponding part of the pie chart. With this, we can now visualize our expenses, their sum total, and which expenditure is higher and consequently occupy the biggest part of our pie chart. Example being, first, the rent and mortgage, which amounts to $1,500. To do the part, we need to divide it by the sum total, which is 2,900, and then multiply that to 100, which will get 51.72% or 51%. Following this, groceries, $500 divided by 2,900, multiply that to 100, and then we'll get 17.24% or 17%. And we'll do this for all our expenses, gathering and getting the resulting percentage, and then adding the percentage to get 100%.
A pie chart helps organize and show data as a percentage of a whole. True to the name, this kind of visualization uses a circle to represent the whole and slices of that circle or pie to represent the specific categories that compose the whole.
These are the references for this video, and I hope you have learned a lot about our topic, which is the pie chart. Thank you and have a nice day.